Yo guys, what is going on? So I went and bought myself a iPhone 7 today. It's the matte black 32GB version, and let me tell you, this phone is so good looking. But before that, I unboxed it and it came with the usual items. The booklet was on top for some strange reason, then the iPhone came beneath it, then the lower level had the charging brick, a charging cord, the new lightning headphones, and a 3.5mm jack to lightning adapter. Now looking around, you can just see how awesome this phone looks. Like, I mean seriously, it's all black, it's sleek, and even though it does collect fingerprints on the back, I would still pick this over the glossy black version any day. So literally when I booted up the phone, I already could tell it was super fast because it booted up in like 20 seconds. With my past iPhones, the first boot usually took like a solid minute or something, but this one took probably less than 30 seconds. The setup was the same except for one part where we got to tweak the new home button, which pretty much acts like the Force Touch on the new MacBooks. It's not actually a button, but it does vibrate. I was just curious to see if I pressed it against the table, if it would shake the table of any sorts, and thankfully it didn't. So if you're texting in class and you hit the home button or something, it's not going to vibrate the table. One thing to note as well is that once I was done and booted up the phone and it was all good to go, it wasn't hot at all. My past iPhones, including the one I have now, once I went through the setup, it would be noticeably hot, but in this case it wasn't. So once I got to the home screen, I noticed how well the screen looked. Apple said that the screen was like 25% brighter or something now. I don't know if it's exactly 25%, but it's somewhat better. I mean, it's cleaner overall, but the cool thing though is that the screen still gets pretty dim though, so you have more brightness to kind of play with. Now on the first boot up, I was impressed by the speed as well. Of course it didn't have any apps or anything installed, but it's still pretty fast. I wouldn't say it's like leaps and bounds faster than the iPhone 6s, but for what I was testing it for, in speed and everyday performance, browsing Reddit, Snapchatting, checking Twitter, etc., it'll zip through them like it's nothing. Gaming on the other hand was completely horrible, and no, I'm just kidding. Gaming was perfect as well. I loaded up the most graphically intensive game I could think of, which was like Real Racing 3, and I just went with it. Now I don't game a lot, so there were probably better games I could have chosen, but whatever. And of course I had to do the Temple Run test, and to pass that as well. The phone didn't even get hot, and I was gaming for like a solid 10 minutes. Now I know it's not a lot, and side note, for some reason I kept finding myself smudging the camera lens when I held it landscape. It's probably just me though, and I feel like I did the same thing with my iPhones back in the day. Speaking about the camera, it was cool as well. Now I'm not a professional photographer or anything, so I'm just going to explain it how it makes sense to me, but like when you're focusing on a subject, the background gets way more blurrier and the overall quality and details of the shots pop out a lot more. Now here's some photos I took with it. It's not anything crazy, but for me the camera kind of made an obvious improvement. But with all these new features, you need something to power up this device, and the battery life is okay. Now there's a 200 milliamp hour difference between the 6S and the 7, but with the new Apple chip it should improve overall battery life. But now with iOS 10 and how everyone's complaining about the battery life, I don't really know if it equals out yet, but once Apple figures that out, I'm sure the battery life will get better. It's not bad by any means, but I feel like it'll improve once more updates and stuff get through. Now this phone also comes with a new set of speakers, actually 3 speakers altogether. Now the bottom 2 cutouts are speakers, but the top earpiece is also a speaker, so it's not necessarily dual front facing speakers, but we do get one front facing speaker, and it's kind of good. I wouldn't really consider them the best phone speakers on the market right now, but definitely better than the 6S's speaker. Now in order to get those speakers in, Apple had to remove an important component, which was the headphone jack. A lot of people were mad about this, and they still are, and for a good reason. But I do just want to say one thing, and it's my personal opinion. Phones nowadays are becoming somewhat stagnant. Yeah, they're getting faster and they're lasting longer, but whether you have 6GB of RAM or 4GB of RAM or 9,000GB of RAM, the phone is still fast, and unless you're planning on running a spaceship with it or something, you probably won't notice or remember any differences. But when a company makes a bold move, like what Apple did back in 2012 with the Lightning charger, or what Motorola did just now with their Moto Mods while removing the headphone jack, or how Samsung Galaxy back in the day made their first Note phone that was apparently too big for consumers and it was going to be a flop or whatever, there's always a public uproar and people hate on it. But then we get used to it, and then we improve on it, and we actually begin to start liking it. Now I'm not defending Apple and saying that I love having Bluetooth on all day and losing my headphones or wasting battery life, but what I am saying is that if companies don't take chances, then they're pretty much never going to improve. Overall, I like the iPhone 7, but if you can handle a bigger size, get the 7 Plus. It has a bigger battery and a nicer camera. I hope you guys liked this video. It was super fun to create. I had a blast making it. Definitely don't forget to leave a like. That definitely helps out a ton with this channel. Comment which iPhone you guys are thinking about getting. Please do not forget to subscribe. That's literally the greatest thing you can do, and it'll make me so happy. You guys don't even understand. Add me on Snapchat as well. The snap code is on the screen somewhere. My name is Simple Alpaca, so you can just add it like that, but you can snap the code as well. I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.